Hey Zoomers, welcome back to World Zoom. So happy you could join me again today. Greatly appreciated as always. Hey, this topic really threw me. It really did. I've been poking around, the last couple days trying to find some more details about Vitali and what's going on over in the Philippines with him being held in the court case. And I just found out yesterday that his green card for the U.S. has been revoked. I swear to you, I thought that he was a U.S. citizen. I remember watching his videos, and I'm not a big fan, but I'd seen his videos before all of this, before he'd be in trouble. And I was sure he talked a number of occasions about U.S. citizenship and coming from Russia and being a citizen. But obviously, that's not the case. And that did take me by surprise a little bit that he had the green card. But anyway, it has officially been revoked. Just a quick review on the green cards and how they decided to take this away, for your education or just as a thought. Also, I found it interesting that in the last 8 months of 2025, there's been more revocations than in the last 5 years combined. Part of that probably wouldn't be a surprise with Mr. Trump, leading the charge on mostly immigration. But how do you get your green card revoked? It was the permanent resident card, if you remember that period of time. There's 8 or 9 different ways they can take away your green card. 4 probably relevant in this case, and then there's a lot of other cases, that would happen with the regular immigration that we're seeing them getting revoked nowadays. Fraud or misrepresentation, that's the first one. So you have a marriage fraud or you have a document fraud. Historically, that's been the number one reason that we saw the revocation. Doesn't really have anything to do with Vitali in this case. The next one does, and that's committing crimes. Some sort of aggravated felony or a fiscal related felony or a CIMT, which is crimes involving moral turpitude, which seems to be one of the reasons that his card was revoked, although there were 2 other instances mentioned for the revocation of his green card. So you had crimes involving moral turpitude, the admission or the use of drugs or distribution of drugs. He also has a past with drug usage in the U.S. So that combination of those 2 probably didn't take, or didn't help his causes. But who brought this forward? I don't know the answer to that. If you know how this got in front of the immigration service, I would love to know, because I can't imagine they're monitoring YouTube and seeing this case going over in the Philippines and think, this guy's a green card holder. We need to get rid of him. I don't see that scenario as probable. It could have happened that way, and they could very well be monitoring foreign green card holders. Another one is a failure for permanent residence. If you stay out more than a year from the U.S., it can be revoked. Also, if you take foreign work or you're working overseas and you've given immigration the assumption that you're going to abandon your green card holding, that's a reason, at least that you would receive notice for it to be revoked. And also, lastly, number 4 of the 9 that I saw listed is some sort of security threat. That has happened in some cases, especially with the Russian and Chinese green card holders that are here primarily, but it's also been for folks from Yemen, from even Sri Lanka. We've seen some of those cases. Some of the Burmese have been there, Pakistanis. There is a new host of folks that are having their green cards revoked because of security issues, and not necessarily what's going on with them, but what's going on with the government in the countries that they came here So apparently, not apparently, Vitali does have a Russian passport and not a U.S. passport as a U.S. green card holder. Let me add at this point, if you find yourself in trouble in the Philippines, especially if you're American, both of the main embassies on the U.S. side in the Philippines, the one in Manila and the one in Cebu, have Phil-Ams that work there. In Cebu, there's a Filipino-American lawyer that is there. You're not going to get any help with the guy that runs the place. But this guy who's been to America, studied in America, is like super nice. And then there's also a lady in Manila that will help you. I mean, that if I could recommend anything from this video besides don't get in trouble, would be to know who to go to in your individual embassies, you know, should you have an issue and you can get to those people. Ask for them directly. And send me a message or something if you need to know their names. So I'll have to dig it up and look for it, but they're super helpful. The loss of the green card means that there's no one, at least on the U.S. side, there's no one to help him work through this deportation process. It's extraordinarily complicated in the Philippines. So let's say he settles with the lady that's bringing the suit. Let's say he gets in front of the court that's charging him with unjust vexation. Let's say he can get some of these things denied and dismissed. He goes, in front of the court, and they have to check all the Philippines to make sure he doesn't have any other outstanding charges. And then he needs to go somewhere. Of course, with that Russian passport, he'll be able to depart the country and go to Russia. As I understand it, and what I've seen be the case, there's only certain places that the Philippines will allow you to deport to, and it's normally your home country. So let's say, for instance, I was in the Philippines and was going to be deported and wanted to go to Thailand or wanted to go to Cambodia or Vietnam. No, I had to go back directly to the United States, even to the extent that they sometimes wanted direct flights, which are really, really tough to get. So not having that person in his court to be able to make arrangements to get him back to the U.S., it really is a big deal. And I simply just don't know the Russian process or how involved the Russian embassy is in the Philippines in helping their citizens. I simply just don't know the answer to that. But it's just another hurdle for him, and it looks like there will not be a return for an extended period of time, if at all, to the United States for him. So would love to know your thoughts on that. That one took me completely by surprise. I was sure he was a citizen, and it turns out he was not. So looks like he won't be coming back, and puts him in another difficult situation. So anyway, from World Zoom, I appreciate you guys. Thought you'd want to know that new tidbit. And then if you have some information for me, I would love to know some details. Also about his cameraman. I can't find anything about that guy. So anyway, from World Zoom, I'll see you guys tomorrow. You take care.